Before we get into the subject of the video, I just want to make it clear to everyone and say, I don't do this on purpose. I don't actively go out of my way to tear into DC and Warner Bros. With every chance I get. I've said it before, but they have made good stuff. The Dark Knight trilogy is fantastic, the Arkham games are incredible, I love the Batman, and even the DCEU had some good films here and there. It's not like I go after these guys just for the hell of it. They just make it really hard for me to be nice to them. So I hope you can understand that when watching this video. With that said, let's talk. So Joker 2019 was a 10 out of 10 film for me. I thought it was phenomenal and had a great and unique take on the Joker character. It somehow managed to be engaging throughout its entire runtime despite not being a traditional comic book film. And it got really intense in some spots too. My knuckles went white during the scene where Arthur killed those 3 kids in the subway. I was terrified watching him kill Randall and you had no clue if he was going to do something to his dwarf friend or not. Then of course there was that awesome scene where Joker went on this big rant on Murray Franklin's show moments before he kills the guy. Joaquin Phoenix was amazing as the Joker, the film was gorgeous, it had some iconic moments, and it had, in my opinion, one of the most powerful endings to a comic book film I have ever seen. And I think the other main appeal about this movie was that you really couldn't rely on the narrative. The movie plays into the theory that Arthur may or may not be telling the truth about some parts of his story, and so you kind of question whether or not he truly was justifying his actions, or if he absolutely wasn't. Of course, that's how I interpret the movie. I could be dead wrong and it is as straightforward as it seems, but regardless, Joker was a really special film. My score may have gone down a bit over the years, it's more of an 8 to 9 now rather than a 10, but I still firmly believe that this was one of DC's best works they've put out, and in my opinion, perfectly stood on its own and did not need a sequel in any way. So what the fuck happened here? Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the entire build up to this movie's release, but there are some key factors as to why this entire thing was doomed from the start. 1. It's obvious they made this because yada yada yada, the first movie made $1 billion, yada yada yada, was nominated for Best Picture, yada yada yada, won Best Actor award. At best, this is a corporate sequel only made because the first film did so well, and at worst, it feels like it was made out of spite and anger towards that first film, and boy will that definitely feel like the case when I talk about the film itself. 2. Joaquin Phoenix doesn't do sequels. The man is notorious for not wanting to be in them unless he likes the script enough to be on board. So it makes you wonder what the hell he saw in this. 3. Apparently they were rewriting the scripts during filming on multiple instances, just straight up starting over from what they have already written down. You know what that sounds like to me? The Super Mario Bros. Film from 1993, and we saw how that one turned out. And lastly, it's a musical? Okay, let me make this clear to everyone out there. Nobody likes musicals. Nobody. I certainly don't. So what the hell are you doing making a DC property a freaking musical? Especially with the Joker? Where did this notion come from that he needed to do songs? The guy was a comedian, not a singer, so this just comes right the hell out of nowhere. Now look, I may be stretching it. It's not like musicals can't be good. They can be. How many of the best Disney films released over the years have been musicals? So it's not like it's a doomed genre, but generally speaking, no casual audience goes to a DC Comics film to sit through the entire runtime of people going, I want to express myself through song, even though my actors aren't fit for the job. I want to be in this girl's life forever, even if she's just 15, but that is fine. Age is just a number. By the way, that's a parody of Disney songs. You can tell because the romance is very illegal. So when people heard that Joker 2 was a musical, it killed a lot of interest in the film. I know I was certainly put off by the choice. It's ballsy, I'll give them that, but it's also very boneheaded. But some people were still looking forward to it. And who knows? Maybe this is a gem in disguise. Maybe the musical numbers can become as iconic as the staircase and bathroom scenes. Maybe, just maybe, we are about to witness the absolute peak of DC cinema, just like what we saw with Joker back in 2019. Well, it's not. It's absolutely not. Joker Folie Deux is awful in every possible way you can think of. This is the textbook example of a sequel that not only is completely pointless, but also actively ruins the first film. I'm not sure if I can even say anything about this movie because nothing happens the entire time. The vast majority of this film is Arthur sulking in Arkham, Harley singing to him all the time, a courtroom drama that does nothing but retell the events of the first movie with nothing new to say, and at the end of the movie, Arthur is in the exact same place as he started. I'll get more into this later, but right now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the musical numbers. Now, I am not an expert on this genre, but I imagine that the most important thing when it comes to making a musical is to have every song serve a purpose. A song in said musical has to either tell us what's currently going on with the character, how said character is feeling, what's happening, or what's about to happen in the film's story. You can't just blurt out into a song about nothing and expect us, the audience, to piece together what the hell is going on. Guess what happened here? The musical moments serve no purpose in the whole story. They are simply there to, at best, make the most out of Lady Gaga being the co-star of this movie, I'll get to her in a bit, and at worst, derails the pacing of the story entirely. And oh my god, there are so many songs in this film. It's not like the singing is bad, but they just never stop. You know you've made a bad musical when your audience actually cheers when Arthur tells Harley he doesn't want to sing anymore, which is what apparently happened in some theaters. That is a feat right there. I am not kidding when I say this too, but every scene with Lady Gaga has her singing. There is not a single moment where Arthur and Harley are actually having a normal conversation with each other. It's just constant rah 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 ah ah, Roma Gaga, oh la la, Roger about romance. Every time. And because of that, we never learn anything about Harley's character. I mean, we all know that she is Gaga for Joker, and she's told lies about how she was committed in Arkham for burning her apartment complex down, when in actuality she committed herself in the hospital, just to be next to Joker. But that's it. Otherwise, she is just a plot device for Arthur. Oh, and those scenes where she's dancing outside the courthouse with Joker and mimicking the elevator scene from the first movie? Yeah, not in the movie at all, cause why the fuck not? As for the movie itself, it's a colossal mess that has no idea what it wants to be. Half of it is a musical, and half of it is a courtroom drama that isn't really a courtroom drama. Arthur kinda takes a back seat throughout this film, and I can't even tell you what his endgame is. Throughout the movie, they try to play on the idea that Arthur has some sort of identity disorder in order to somehow convince the courtroom that he was in fact innocent and it was this Joker persona that was responsible for the killing. Which is complete bullshit because you saw the first movie. Then, during the courtroom sequences where Arthur's representing himself after firing his lawyer, just because, we get to hear people recite the first movie with nothing to really add. It's just everybody going, hey, have you seen the first movie? Well, let's explain it all again, just because, I don't know, we don't like you and we think you're dumb. And Arthur doesn't accomplish shit. He doesn't make any arguments to help his case. He just fucks around with the courtroom, pretty much wasting their and our time. Again, what was his endgame here? So after that mess of a trial, he gets taken back to Arkham, and then Arthur gets prison raped by some guards.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
I'm not joking. You don't see it happen, but it's implied that the guards gave him the good soap drop technique. Cause when they're dragging him into the hole of Arkham, his pants are off and he is totally buzzed out. So yeah, there's something to remember in this movie. This honestly feels like Todd Phillips watched the interview that Zack Snyder made where he said Batman wouldn't get raped in prison and then said to himself, but if it was the Joker, and yeah, Arthur decides to completely denounce the Joker and says it was all him, the jury finds him guilty for his crimes, and then the courtroom explodes. Because why the hell not? Again. So he catches up to Harley at the iconic staircase. No idea why she would be there, but I guess we really needed to make that callback. But Harley doesn't want anything to do with it because he admitted that there was no Joker and all she cared about was the Joker. So she storms off and Arthur goes back to Arkham. So basically, those past 2 hours we just watched were fucking pointless. He started in Arkham and ended in Arkham. He accomplished nothing. Thanks for wasting my damn time, movie. Oh, but we're not done. I haven't talked about this film's ending yet. And it has to be one of the most insulting things I have ever seen. So after Arthur goes back to Arkham, he's told that he has a visitor, and when he goes to see who it is, this random guy who we saw working in the shadows throughout the film walks up to Arthur and asks if he can tell a joke. He then tells the joke, which ends with the very punchline Arthur said to Murray, "You get what you fucking deserve." And Arthur gets prison shanked to death. Yep, out of nowhere, Arthur dies. Just like that. And while he's dying, as the camera slowly zooms in on his face, the guy who stabbed him in the background proceeds to carve a smile on his face with the knife while laughing maniacally, as if this is supposed to imply that this is the real Joker and Arthur wasn't. After that absolute crotch of an ending, I was left with one question. Was Todd Phillips trying to undo everything he did with the first movie? Like seriously, this thing goes out of its way to actively destroy everything the first movie built. You can feel the spite oozing out of this thing. This generally doesn't feel like a movie that was made out of passion, but like Todd just wanted to stick it to either Warner Bros. Or the people that liked the first movie. Arthur literally ended the first Joker with him embracing the persona, hinting at his future of becoming the clown prince we all know and love. And now in Folie Deux, he decides that he doesn't want any of it? So what the hell was the point of that ending then? Did that car hit him so hard in the head that he was just dazed and didn't know what the hell he was doing at that moment? Oh crap, where am I? In a musical number? Oh, this is pretty sweet. Oh, wait, what's this in my mouth? Oh, that's some delicious grape jelly. And this film tries so hard to push the idea that Arthur is this complete monster who we should not try to sympathize with in any way, but wait a minute. Wasn't the first film all about the audience watching everything happen in Arthur's perspective, showing us how the negligence and toxicity of society can push a man with mental illness to the brink of causing such atrocities, and how we need to pay more attention to that and hopefully prevent it? And now this very same movie, directed by the very same guy who gave us that message, is now telling us we should villainize Joker in every way, regardless of his reasons. So you became the very goddamn thing that you yourself pointed fingers at being the actual problem. Unbelievable. Let me make this nice and clear to you, Todd. Nobody idolizes your Joker. The only people that do that are the same fucking retards who use TikTok at a terminal rate. We don't idolize him for what he did. We know Joker is a bad dude, but we get him. We get why he turned out this way. We get why he would do such a thing. This notion that everyone that watched your first movie and made it as big as it was is idolizing a killer, and that's why you decide to self-nuke everything you've built up? You do not belong here. You really don't. You said that this would be your last Joker film and your last DC project? Good. I wouldn't trust you with another DC film like this again if you're gonna act this impulsive about your film's legacy. But hey, perhaps you did accomplish one thing with this utter shit show of a film. You completely ruined the first movie for me. I don't think I can watch it the same way ever again after seeing through this and watching you backtrack on everything you built up. If this was your endgame all along with the Joker, then congratulations, you have done your job. Just don't go crying to us when everyone hates you and studios don't want to work with you ever again, which seems likely to happen given, oh my god. In conclusion, I hate this movie. I wasn't really expecting much from it, but I wasn't also expecting it to be this bad. I would say this is one of the worst movies I've seen this year, but it probably won't be. I mean, I haven't seen that comic book film yet, but as of now, this is one of the worst DC movies I have ever seen and one of the worst sequels I have seen as well. Step aside Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Wonder Woman 1984, this one is a real piece of shit. And that's that. As always, I will ask the question, what did you guys think about Joker Folie Deux if you have seen it by now? Did you watch it and go, oh yeah, I see what they were going for and the musicals are pretty good? Or were you like, no, this was a bad idea all around and the musicals suck? And I don't know what other questions to ask. Do you still care for DC movies after this? I feel like we don't answer that question enough. After everything that has happened, do you still even remotely care for DC making more movies in the future? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and Warner Brothers, no. Let's do something a bit different. How about a joke, Joker Folie Deux? What do you get when you cross a fanbase of the first movie with a sequel that insults them and treats them like trash? I'll tell you what you get. You get what you fucking deserve. Good night. And remember, that's life.